Hi, I'm Jamie and welcome to the chaotic life of a Canadian mom. Today we have another anti-MLM story for you. Unfortunately, I hate to admit, I have a lot of experience with a lot of different MLMs. This one was a little different for me. It wasn't I don't know. It's hard to explain. You'll understand as I get more into the story because this one went kind of a scary direction, I guess you could say. I got into, first off, let's talk about which MLM it is. The MLM that I am talking about today is Young Living. This is one that I got into hook, line, and sinker. And it's probably the most embarrassing one for me, being, if you watch my other channel, my main channel, Glowing Beauty Addiction, or follow me on Twitter, you might know that I have a very scientific background. I used to be a geologist, and so therefore I have a lot of, you would think, smarts. Why this one got to me the way it did, though, was it came at a time where I personally was going through a lot of health issues. My kids, you know, being new to schools and whatnot, they were getting sick a lot. I was on a drug called methotrexate for a long time, so my immune system is not as strong as it should be. So I was at a point where even a common cold, a cough, for me would turn into pneumonia. And around the time that I got started with Young Living, I know the boys had brought home a cold, and of course I got it, and I got very sick. Very sick. I actually ended up going to urgent care. They did x-rays, everything. They told me I had pneumonia and 3 cracked ribs, and they were going to check me into the hospital. My husband worked overseas at the time. He was in Saudi Arabia, and yeah, going to the hospital wasn't an option for me. So for me, anything that I could do to avoid getting sick was my focus. You know, at that time I had no choice but to tough it out, go home with my kids, and be a mom. And was that a smart choice? No, not at all. I've lost count of how many times I've had pneumonia, and it is scarier and scarier every time. But one of the moms at the play school that my boys were at, she was into Young Living. And, you know, we chatted all the time, drop off, pick up, that type of thing. And, you know, she had noticed when I was sick, and so we kind of got chatting about essential oils. And it intrigued me. Like, at that point, anything to help was something I was going to grasp on too. And of course, you know, as most moms, parents, people, you know, I was really interested in that idea of living a cleaner, more chemical-free life, even though my scientific brain knows everything is a chemical. I still got sucked into this, and that is what is so scary about this. You know, there were good things. One great thing that did come out of all this was I took it upon myself to get more educated. So I did take courses on aromatherapy and essential oils so that I could be more educated and make more informed decisions. There were just so many things that weren't adding up to me that it was like, okay, this is getting a little scary. I need to step back, crack those books, and get smart. When I say I went into this hook, line, and sinker, like, I have got the drinks, the zing, I can never pronounce it. I have got the little sample tubes. I have got, I don't know how many of the diffusers. And this is where it gets embarrassing, y'all. I have 4 of these. Ugh. So this lovely thing opens like so. Oh, so there's one side, and here's, this one's not my completely full. Here's the other side, but yeah, I have 4 of these, people. I have oils. So yeah, as I said, good stuff did come from it though. I feel the education that I got on my own was very beneficial. And I loved the stuff that I did learn. And I was able to make changes in my life that were better. I started making some of my own cleaners. I was making my own laundry detergent, all sorts of things that just helped get some of the more nasty chemicals out of our lives. But to take it back to the beginning, like, take me out of it. What Young Living presents to the world is quite a bit different than what it is in reality. So what they want you to know is, or to believe, what they want you to buy into is that they have this seed to seal guarantee. So they are growing absolutely all of the ingredients required to make their own oils. They started the D. Gary Young Living Foundation, and it was to empower underserved communities. Now, one thing I've noticed in a lot of these MLMs is that that word empower comes up a lot. I think that they really want to get to those single parents or helping get people an addition to their income, you know, make them their own boss. So the foundation started in 2009, where they were going to rescue orphans, provide health care, education. They were going to stop slavery and human trafficking, and they were going to rebuild communities. They worked in Nepal, Ecuador, Cambodia, and Uganda. Now, the one fishy statement that is on their website is that they will donate in the US, but only if the organization aligns with their mission. And if you do any further digging into those organizations, you'll find a lot of them are in Utah, which is where Young Living kind of started out. They play this up with the, if you're ready to join, you're ready for an abundance of and wellness, and your life is going to be so much better. You're going to be healthier. You're going to make a ton of money. Like all these MLMs, they really push your potential. That's how they get around it. Potential to earn free product and transform your financial future. Doesn't this all sound just fabulous? So they'll tell you that you'll get 24% off of the retail price for all the oils, but you have to be a member of their ER program, which means it's not even a dollar amount per se, but every month there's going to be more purchases that you have to make. And also, don't forget that to even get started with this, to be eligible for the ER program, any of that, you have to buy your starter kit. You'll get one of those fancy diffusers, and that's going to set you back a cool $199.75. If you go onto their website, they'll have the Young Living blog, and there's going to be recipes. More on that in a little bit. There's going to be cures for acne, how to have beautiful hair, how to clean your home using only Young Living. Then there's the Gary Young blog, and supposedly they post every Tuesday or Thursday. I don't know if that keeps up since he did pass away, but the Gary Young blog is very religion based. So they're talking about the oils that may be mentioned in the Bible, that type of thing. And when anybody talks about Gary Young, they're very sure to mention that he was an explorer, an innovator, a philanthropist, a pioneer, a researcher, and a writer. But most importantly, they love to say that he is a truth seeker. Now we're going to get into the truth of all this Young Living stuff. How to, decode the things that Young Living and Young Living reps will probably tell you. One of the most important things to know is essential, like as in essential oils, it doesn't mean that they're essential for health. So when you're discussing essential oils, what that really means is essence of. So if you're talking about lavender essential oil, It is the essence of lavender. Also to remember is that essential oils are very volatile. Now, volatile in scientific terms, meaning they vaporize easily. So when we're talking about a volatile oil, one that vaporizes easily, is that it contains a mixture of chemical compounds, and that those chemical compounds, they only have the aromatic characteristic of that plant. So while essential oils, you know, they aren't a cure, they do have aromatherapy benefits. So for example, you're having trouble sleeping. There's no medical proof that lavender oil is going to help you sleep. But what can be proven is if the smell of lavender makes you feel more relaxed, it only makes sense that you'll sleep better. And it gets scary too when there are medical diagnoses being thrown out there in regards to essential oil, when there's been like no conclusive, like essential oils have not been properly evaluated to have any medical effectiveness. When you have companies that are kind of propagating this misinformation, I don't understand personally how there haven't been more legal implications. One of the biggest things, people, if you take nothing else away from this video, now this is a blanket statement, but just for ease, essential oils are not safe to consume, period. End of story. If you get educated on essential oils, like there may be, you know, certain things, but there are some oils that are considered hot oils. And when they're a hot oil, like that means not only will it cause an irritation to your skin, but it can be burning your throat if you're ingesting it. It can be burning your nostrils if you're inhaling it. It can cause so many scary things. Also, they are telling people, rub thieves oil on your child. Thieves oil has cinnamon, that's a hot oil. Do not rub oils neat on a child. Even inhaling some of these things, like there's different types of eucalyptus. Some's okay, some are not. Some around children under age of 6 are so harmful. There are even some essential oils that diffusing them around pets could lead to the death of your pet. It is so important to be educated about this stuff. When it comes to MLMs, I know in the last video I said pyramid scheme, and a lot of people are like, it's not a pyramid scheme. It's shaped like a pyramid, so let's just use that as my definition. These MLMs, that's like, oh, it's about making everybody healthy and getting away from medicine, all this type of thing. But when you have a company that in 2017, their sales surpassed $1.52 billion, there's something to do about money, in my opinion. The founder, Gary Young, to say that this man's sketchy would be an understatement. Gary Young, he actually founded a clinic in Tijuana, Mexico, where he would run cheap blood tests for Americans. He would say that he could detect cancer in these blood tests. When somebody went to find out more about this clinic and they thought things were just not on the up and up, they actually sent in a vial of cat's blood. This cat blood came back that, yeah, this person had very severe cancer. I think there was liver function wasn't correct, all this type of thing. Any of the diagnoses coming out of this clinic, of course there was a cure for everything, and it was Gary Young's own, his very expensive detox program. Also, with a lot of the oils, they were sent out because Young Living likes to say everything is pure. It's pure. Everything's pure. I don't even want to get into the whole how it can't be pure, but they found, especially their jasmine and their birch oils were synthetic. There are 2 different chemicals, one being DPG, which is dipropylene glycol, as well as methyl salicylate. Those are both synthetic compounds. Those are not natural. So they're saying that these jasmine and birch oils are pure, and they're not. You also have the business dealings behind the scene where there were people very high up in this pyramid in the company that left Young Living. They didn't want any part of the shady dealings, and they went over to a competing company, that company being doTERRA. Now, I personally have not had a lot of dealings with doTERRA. I've had friends that have sold them, but again, I got myself educated. I know which, and Lord knows, I have a lot of oils. I know which ones of my oils I can trust or how to use them, so I really don't need to be buying anymore, to put it lightly. Now, Young Living also received a number of letters, warning letters from the FDA. Now, these letters were because of the false claims that Young Living was making. And I'll get back to some of these false claims that Young Living was making. Another great big red flag was when a lot of the Young Living members would tell you, oh, it's not an allergic reaction. You're not having irritation. It's impossible if it's a pure substance. Where to even begin? Common sense should just tell everybody that when you hear something like that, run. It is not true. People have irritations or allergic reactions to natural, pure things all the time. Think of something like bee stings. People have myself included, allergic reactions to bee stings. If you ever did join Young Living, their compensation plan was one of the most complicated compensation plans I've ever seen. And like I mentioned before, I have a lot of experience with these MLMs. To this day, I don't think I could explain or describe how to make money with Young Living. I don't know if I could explain how I ever got paid. If I ever got paid, was product payment. It was beyond confusing. So now let's go back to their Young Living Foundation and everything. The brand itself, they love to say how, seed to seal, they produce everything and it's all ethically sourced and all this. Well, come to find out, it's not all ethically sourced. And in fact, 99% of Young Living's ingredients to make their oil were not grown on their own farm. And it was very easy for people to figure this out because based on how much raw product you would need to produce the oil, there was just no way that they had that amount of raw product on hand or being grown on their acreages, or you know what I mean, on their amount of land to be able to produce the quantities of oil that they were selling. Now, they were also fined $760,000 for violating the Lacey Act for illegally trafficking rosewood oil. And rosewood oil is an endangered species. So as far as them saying everything is ethically sourced, everything, they were trafficking an endangered species. Now, their cinnamon oil, which is one of their oils, and it's in a lot of their blends, it came out that it was proven beyond a doubt that it was actually adulterated with I can never pronounce it, cinnamonaldehyd. There are words in the scientific thing that my tongue cannot pronounce. Now, what made this one so scary is cinnamon, like I mentioned, it's in a lot of their blends, but it's also one of those that they say, oh, it's all natural, it's safe to ingest. They actually have recipes to put like cinnamon oil, in the cookies you're making for your children. Cinnamon is a hot oil. This could cause so many digestive tract injuries, issues. Ugh, it is just beyond frustrating. Now, Gary Young, now this fact, it did make me chuckle when I came across this one. So Gary Young, under oath, so he's hand on the Bible, under oath, claimed that he had received his PhD from a Canadian university online from 1988 to 89. I'm gonna let you think on that one a little bit. So it's a Canadian university that's offering an online degree, like a PhD, in 88 or 89. Anything stand out about that? Because when I first read that, I was like, wait a minute, 88, 89, that was before the internet. I would love to know how one gets an online PhD from a Canadian university before the internet is even made public. Some good things have been happening in regards to their shady dealings. In 2018, Young Living, their A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau was actually revoked. And they are no longer an accredited business, which is great because I know a lot of people, when they're going to research MLMs, it's one thing to go and look into the history, but some people, it's a lot easier to go to one website, go to the Better Business Bureau, and it's like, hey, they've got great ratings, it must be legit. So seeing that they are finally taken off of the BBB's website, I think that is a tremendous step in hopefully helping some people avoid to get into this mess. The other thing, and this is getting back to the scientific side of my brain, just because an oil says that it has antibacterial or antifungal properties, it does not mean it's a cure-all. I see, oh, I'm so glad I'm not on Facebook anymore. I used to see this all the time. Oh, you've got acne? Take this oil because it's antifungal and antibacterial. It's going to cure it. That's not how it works. Where Young Living's history for me got infuriating, got scary, is just messed up was, it boggles my mind. In 1982, he opened a clinic in Washington. It was a health center, and his wife gave birth there. He essentially killed his child because he delivered this child in a whirlpool, and he left the baby underwater for an hour. I have no words. It is one thing to have very strong beliefs. I can't even. He was luckily, though, arrested after this for practicing without a license. Do I think that was enough? No. In my opinion, I think he should have been charged with murder. Sorry, I had to turn off my fireplace. It was getting a bit hot on my back. So, when the FDA issued the warning letters to Young Living, I wrote down a list. These are the claims that they were marketing their oils, okay? So, they've been marketing their products as cures or treatments for things like viral Ebola, Parkinson's, autism, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, insomnia, heart disease, PTSD, dementia, and multiple sclerosis. Cures. This breaks my heart because I've either dealt with some of these things or family members or friends, and I know that feel like you want so desperately for something to fix what's going on. You want that cure. And I just see this as so predatory, so incredibly disturbing that at people's weakest times, here comes Young Living with their snake oil and they're going to cure everything that ails you. And it is so sad. Gary Young, his whole philosophy was the reason he knew that oils were the way of life, the cure-all for everything, was that he had had a severe spinal injury in his 20s and that he was able to recover from that. He found his own cure for the spinal injury by drinking nothing but water and lemon for 253 days. Water and lemon, that's it, for 253 days. This cured his spinal injury. I'm just gonna let that sink in, because I don't know in what world no food but water and lemon is going to cure a spinal injury. And it was in 1983 that he was arrested because he claimed that his blood tests could detect cancer. So that's where it finally set in. It was after he had killed his child, after being down in Tijuana, all this stuff, that they finally said, whoa, this isn't right. So it was in 1994 that him and his third wife started Young Living. In 2000, so he's already been arrested. He's killed his child, he's been arrested. He opened another clinic, this time in Utah, where he offered alternative therapies. Again, heart disease and cancer. He had one doctor working for him that had lost his medical license, and he only got his license back after he pled guilty to manslaughter. What had happened was he provided a fatal overdose to a patient to cure their cancer. Problem was, this patient didn't have cancer. He had been prescribing this patient medication for 10 years for cancer that this person didn't have. How these things happen and go on and continue to go on, and how half of these Young Living reps don't even know all this, because there is no mention of any of this unless you deep dive, and it scares me. The other scary scenario was there was a whistleblower that had left Young Living and gone over to doTERRA. He actually did an interview with the New Yorker, and he stated that he actually watched a video of Gary Young doing a surgery, and keeping in mind his only medical degree is a doctorate in naturopathy, and that is from an unaccredited school. So he watched him do a surgery, performing a gallbladder surgery, and then he administered essential oils by IV to this patient in Ecuador. There's just, I realize different countries have different laws, different rules, but why did somebody not come forward sooner? Performing surgery on somebody, and they don't have a medical degree. I think something should be clicking inside your head saying, something doesn't seem right. I need to let somebody know about this. In 2019, there was a class action lawsuit started, and the lawsuit described, I wrote this down, the lawsuit described the company as a cult-like pyramid scheme. So it's not just me misspeaking, using pyramid scheme incorrectly. The lawsuit that it actually is a pyramid scheme to emphasize on recruitment over product sales. So it is like every other MLM. You can sell product out the wazoo, but you're not going to make real money until you get those people under you, because then you're making a cut of them. And then once they get people under them, you're getting a cut from the two levels. Hence, pyramid. It also came out, like, there's been so many studies done on the actual income from people from MLMs. The average Young Living rep, they make $1 a month. $1 a month. To get back now, we're drawing back out of my fields. We're getting back into the scientific brain of thing, okay? So, essential oils are as natural as antibiotics or aspirin. Very, very, very important to know that essential oils, they are so incredibly concentrated, and that is where so many of the dangers lie. Like a bottle of, little 5 milliliter bottle of essential oil, lemon essential oil, it requires 75 lemons to make that 5 milliliter bottle of lemon essential oil. So when they're talking about how it's safe to ingest, Would you sit down and allow anybody to just eat 75 lemons? It doesn't make sense. Like, you can overdose on anything. And when you concentrate something so much, how is one to know that, okay, 2 drops of this lemon oil, is that 2 lemons or 50? Peppermint oil is another one that they really push. It can cause huge breathing problems in children, people. Huge. Throat swelling to complete cutoff of being able to breathe. Peppermint oil. And peppermint oil is one that is used so much. Natural does not mean safe. Highlight that. Big letters. Natural does not mean safe. Don't forget, antibiotics came from mold. Aspirin, it comes from a bark. Cocaine comes from a plant. All natural things. Natural does not always mean safe. I'm gonna wind this up. I have a battery light flashing and everything, and I'm getting heated. It's important to know that all essential oils are not dangerous. Please don't think I'm saying run away from these with all your might. Educate yourself, know how they're made, know their concentration, dive deep to know that you know how you're using, what you're using it for, all the information that you need. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down below, have you had any experiences with Young Living? What are your thoughts on essential oils? Would you like to know more? Also, let me know what MLM I should be doing next. So I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, don't forget to subscribe. I do have a giveaway going on my other channel, Glowing Beauty Addiction, and I hope you enjoyed.